Hi everyone, this is Gail. Just wanted to drop in for a second and let you know that this video that's coming up is one of the videos that I told you about earlier that was just a mess and it was chopped up and everything. And I have tried to get it to where you can see what I did. It's making translucent canes. Right now, I'm in the middle of having my living room floors redone, and I just haven't had time. Well, actually, I can't get into my room to record anything because it's full of furniture from my living room. So I put this together so you would have a video for today, and I hope you enjoy it. Have a good time. I know, just have a good time with it. That's what I did. But I will be back again next Monday with another polymer clay video. Bye-bye. Hello everyone, this is Gail, and I know this looks like a jumble of stuff here. I have got some blue clay that was different colors of blues that were in my scrap pile, and I blended them together to make a pretty blue. I have some black clay that's rolled out to a number 3. I've got some white clay that's rolled out to a number 3. And number 3 is 5 playing cards thick if you're using the playing card method. And I've also got some translucent that is rolled out to the thickest setting of my pasta machine. And what I think I'll show you today is how to make some translucent decorative canes. And when I say decorative canes, where did I put my pen? Here it is. I went to a Kathleen Dustin workshop one time, and she showed us how to make this pen. Or actually, we chose our own design and everything. But if you look at this, there's some black swirls here, like a pinwheel. There are these white stripes here. There's this was an actual cane that I sliced. But if you look at this, it's very in-depth. And that's because everything is under translucent and it's done in different layers. But before you can even think about doing something like this, and this is a crackle that's done with gold leaf and translucent. So I thought rather than make a project, I would show you how to make translucent canes. So I think I'm going to start with the black. And I'm not going to make this, I'm not going to make them very big because we don't need very big canes. So I'm just going to slice off a piece and put this over to the side. Now this is at the thickest setting of the pasta machine right now. And I think I'm going to leave it that way. And I'm going to lay this black, which is on the number 3 setting here, and I'm going to just cut a rectangle. So I'll cut here, and I'll put my translucent in one pile, and I'll cut here. And move this away. And because there's some layered problems there, I think I'll cut here. You don't let your clay sit for very long or they will bond together. I just wanted to make sure that this black got covered. Alright, so there is black and translucent, and I've got the translucent is a little bit thicker. Okay, and I'm flipping it over to the black is up, and I'm going to do a beveled edge right here. And this is it's not really necessary, but it's good to help you get your pinwheel started. And I'm going to start folding this translucent up. And make sure it's even because you want your pinwheel to be even. And then just start rolling. Now it's very cold in my craft room today, so I will probably have trouble with the clay cracking, which I did. See right there? Even though it's conditioned and warmed up, it's so cold it cools off very quickly. But let me try to heal it as I roll it. And hopefully it won't mess up the little swirls too much. Probably ought to turn my little heater on. I do have a heater, I just don't like to use it. I'm kind of afraid of space heaters. You just warm it up in my hands, maybe. Just a little bit. Of course, squeeze your ends in as you do this. And this will really work okay. It's just, you know, like I said, it's cold in this room. It's hot in the summertime and cold in the winter. So who knows? But let me just cut these ends off. You see, you have a nice black swirl. I'll leave this one because as you reduce it to whatever size you want, this will always be the bad end, and it gives you something to hold on to. So there's our first translucent cane, and it's the black swirl. Now you can do the same thing in white. If you want white swirls, you would do the exact same process, but replace the black with white. So that would be one cane. All right, let's bring my translucent back over here and cut another section off. And this time I'm going to use white. I'm going to see if I remember how to make those stripes. But I'm going to roll this thinner. This clay is rolled out, the white is rolled out to the number 3, and I believe I'm going to go down to a number 5 on this. And put my translucent over the top. And I will trim here. Put my white back with my white clay. And I just like to have the edges even though this didn't cut very even. And I'll cut this one. And then I'm going to turn it over because I want to make sure that I get the white on all the translucent that I have. So now we have a white and translucent layer, and the translucent is thicker than the white. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this in half. So let me measure it on my grid here. Put it on down here where I can see the inch marks. And this is 4 3/4. So not quite wait a minute, so 1, 2, 3, 4 3/4. So not quite 5, so I'm going to make this 2 and maybe, that's close enough. And then I'm going to stack the white onto the translucent. Now this translucent is probably a little bit too thick. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to roll this out. I'm going to put this into the pasta machine this way and roll this out on the thickest setting of the pasta machine just to make that translucent a little bit thinner. Okay, now again I need to square up the ends, but they've been rolled together, so this time I can't save the ends. Got a little ragged on one side, and again it's because of the temperature in my room. So let me just slice that off. But now I'm going to cut it in half again. This time it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. So that would be 2 3/4, right? And I'm going to stack that. And try to make sure your stack is even. I don't know if you can see those lines or not. And I'm going to cut it in half this way. So let me see how wide this is. It's a little over 1 inch. Actually, for some reason, that side must have been the way it rolled through the pasta machine. Not quite even. So it is a little over 1 inch, so I'm just going to overlap my inch mark a little bit on each side and then cut down the middle. I don't think that's half, but I'm going to do it anyway. And stack it again. And see, now we have a pretty nice white and translucent stack. And I'm going to even it up on this side. You see, this isn't quite even, so I'm just evening things up. And I'm going to cut it not in half, but maybe I'll cut like 1 inch off of this side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull. Now you have to be on a surface that your clay will stick. I'm going to stick this down on end and then gradually force this clay to lay back down while leaving this on the glass surface. And it might take some different tries. After it gets going, you can kind of press with your hands. Let me stick that down again and then now, I don't pretend to do this anywhere near as well as Kathleen Dustin did. And I took the class maybe 15 years ago, so it's been a long time. But see, what you get now is your stripes have folded, and I folded some of the translucent up in there, but that's all right. Your stripes have got this curve now that go down. So I'm going to do this just about the same with this one. except what I'm trying to do is to match this. And I guess I better do it with the white on top. So I'm just going to take my clay and push it with my fingers. If you have a little rod, you can maybe take your rod and put your rod in there. If you have a cane bender, if you have Teresa's cane benders, you can use that. And then put this up against it. And then the rest you just push with your fingers. And let me slice a piece off of this to get rid of the messy edges so you can see what this looks like. See, there you go here. Can you see there? That's pretty good. And you see I did one here for this cane. And it looks pretty good. You know, it looks nice as just to add texture in one of your layers if you're doing layers. So let's see, what's another translucent cane you can do? You can, oh, I did show you, let me get some leaf out. I have so many different pieces. First off, I'm going to take one piece of translucent, about the size that I did before, but I'm going to roll it out on the number 3 setting of the pasta machine, which again is 5 playing cards thick. Which gives us a pretty nice long little piece of clay. Let's see, it is 2, 4, 6, 8 inches. And a smidgen, so I'm going to cut that smidgen off. And I'm going to cut this in half. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to cut this in half. And I don't want to use that. Let me see what this one is. I've got so many different pieces of leaf. I'm not sure what this one is. It's still in the paper. This is silver. I've not done a silver, so I may do that one. This looks like gold. Then I have packets in here. I've got all different colors of leaf. You would not imagine what I've got in here. This is definitely a gold leaf. And I'm pretty sure that both of these would be gold leaf. Yes, those are gold leaf. So I think I'll do maybe one of each. I'm going to lay this here. And if any of you have ever worked with gold leaf, you know it's very flyaway. So I like to leave it on the paper if I can. And then I'm going to just rub it really good with my hands to make sure this leaf gets onto my clay. And you can see down here, it didn't stick right there. So let me pull off some scraps and see if I can... Whoops, that's the wrong way, I think. Maybe not. So I'm going to try filling in these edges a little bit, just because I want the color to go all the way to the edges. And you just press it where you need the leaf, and it'll stick to the clay. And then what I like to do is take a little brush. This one probably not thick enough. Yeah, I'll just use this. Take a little brush and brush the edges, and it gets rid of all the little pieces. Actually, all it did was stick it to my clay, but that's all right. And I'm going to put this other piece on top of it. Actually, I think I'll put one on here too. Let me do that also, since I've got this leaf out and it's sticking to this paper. And because my clay is a little bit cold, that's probably why it's not sticking real well. Although I think this is imitation gold leaf. It doesn't look like real gold leaf, and that might be the problem too, is that it's not the real stuff. I should have gotten the real stuff out of my drawer. Because this is not really acting like real gold leaf. But it will work for what I'm trying to show you. Okay, and there's just one little place that didn't grab any leaf. Oops. I was trying to wipe the edge and I tell you, getting old is not fun. I'm finding more and more that I can't, I mean, even though I've got new glasses on, I still can't half see. So now I'm going to stack these. And let me just, since that's so raggedy, I'm just going to cut that edge off. And this is 4 inches, so I'll cut it in half again and stack it. And now what I would do with this, depends on what you want to do with it. Let me roll this, it doesn't seem to be sticking. I'm pretty sure this is imitation leaf. I'm not sure where I got it. It was probably part of a kit that I got. I just want to make sure that it's all stuck together. So there is a little bit of a price difference between the gold leaf and the imitation gold leaf, but if you can possibly afford it, please get the real gold leaf. And actually, I'm going to cut this in half again. So you probably can't see on this, but there, you know, it's the gold leaf in between each translucent piece. And that would make a real pretty cane to slice and put on something. But I'm going to do another one, and I may just use the silver leaf. I've never done silver leaf with translucent. Let me roll this out on the number 3 again. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, just barely, but close enough, right? And cut this in half. This is probably, like I say, this is not mine, this is something I got in a kit. Whoops. This is acting more like leaf. The other one seemed to be imitation. Get a stiffer brush. And see how it'll tear it off right at the edge. The other one didn't do this, so that's why I'm thinking it was imitation leaf. And then you can use these scraps to fill in any little places that didn't get stuck, and then you can brush off the rest. Now there is a little mark there, and I noticed there was a mark on my leaf. So let me see if I can get that to stick on there. And then brush it off. Most of it got covered. Yeah, this is the way leaf usually works. It sticks to everything except what you want it to stick to. There, it got into that little crevice, that little crescent shape that was... Let me get this off of here. I'm going to end up with it all over everything if I don't move it now. And I find a brush is the easiest thing to use to deal with it. Even though now it is all over my black pants. This time I'm just going to do this. And let me see what else I've got in here that I'd like to play with. When I tell you I've got different leaves, these are all my leaves. I've got some variegated. This is the red. That's green variegated. This is green. But there's my silver, so I'm going to put another silver on top. Let me lay this back in my drawer. But I usually use the Mona Lisa leaf, which is what this is. And if I'm lucky enough to find a small piece, it would be on the end. There's a small piece. See, I save all my scraps because it's expensive. You don't want to miss it. So this one I'll do in pieces. But you don't have to worry about it being several layers of leaf because only the one layer is going to stick. The rest is going to brush away. And I think there was a little piece left in here. That I can use down here. See, as I walk, I don't know if you can see that, but as I'll rub my finger across, all these little pieces are coming up, and that's where it's overlapped. And the top layer is brushing away. And I'm not going to try to save these little pieces. But you can see, if it's worth saving, put it back in your paper and save it for your next project. Oh, I've got it all over everything. Why I wear black pants when I'm working with leaf, I don't know. But again, I'm going to cut this in half and stack it. You line it up. And we'll do like a little sort of a Mogumi Gane technique. Not really a lot, but let me make sure this is all stuck together. I'm going to take, and I'm going to use another one of Teresa's cane benders. but I'm going to use the tiny one. This is the tiniest one. It's like 1/8 of an inch. And I'm going to just press it in here and make little ridges. Just press them down as far as you can get them because you want to move all of that clay. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. But I'll try to do it in between. Let's see how I can figure that out. That was there. So I guess if I go about the same space, I will get in between the other ones. And you can do this. You could have cut it in half again and made it a little thicker. But let me cut it in half. Not in half, but let me cut a slice off so that you can see where the silver leaf has now been rippled. Maybe you can't see that. But this would make some really interesting effects on some clay, on a background. So let me put this away. And I think I'm going to just get rid of this leaf because it just isn't very good. And I've got a package of gold leaf. And these are foils, which wouldn't really do well with translucent clay, so I won't use those today. But see, if you get the Mona Lisa, it comes in this nice plastic container and it seals right back. So that is another thing that you can do to make translucent canes. Again, I'm going to cut a length of clay, and this is the translucent clay. And I'm going to take my white. Well, first let me do this. Let me do it this way. I'm going to take this and put it on my patty paper, just so it won't stick to my work surface. And I'm going to take a knitting needle, and this is the one I'm going to use. It's just a straight knitting needle. And I'm going to press indentations all the way in. Actually, that was too much. I ended up cutting it in half. About halfway through. And just do this. I'm doing it maybe every, not even half an inch, I don't think. About every 3/8 of an inch, I'm making a little indentation. That one's a little crooked, but I'll straighten the rest of them out. And you can just do this all the way down, however long your translucent clay is. Do this all the way down. And then take some white. And you can do this through an extruder, or you can just roll it, which I'm going to start out just rolling it, just to show you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to roll this out into a snake. Some air in that end. But I'm going to make the snake about the size as that little ridge. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this in here and cut it off. And lay that in there and cut it off and do this all the way down. Actually, what I think I'm going to do is I'm only going to do it halfway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just going to cut it there. And you'll see why in a minute. So just continue to roll these and put them in that little groove that you made with your knitting needle. Now again, you can make this as big or as little as you want, and I'm making these small because I already have canes like this. So I just need one more. And then what I'm going to do with this is match up these grooves with those little round pieces. And I'm doing this mainly to keep them from getting flattened out too much. I'm just going to get those attached. And then I'm going to pinch one end. And I'm going to start another spiral cane. And I'll just be rolling this translucent with the little white rods in it. And again, I apologize, my room is cold. So I'll just have to heel this as it turns. It doesn't help that I put those grooves in it because it made it real thin. Let me just roll this together and cut this off, and you see you've got now a polka dot cane. Now if I'd made this a lot longer, it would have been a lot bigger. Let me see if I can find my polka dot cane. It's over here somewhere. I think this is it. Nope, that's not it. It's one of my larger canes. You would think it would be like jump in my face kind of obvious. Well, I just don't see it right now. It's probably in another one of my cases. But it's about this big around and has about 4 or 5 different rows of these little dots. The bigger it gets, the neater it is. So that's another translucent cane you can use. So I'll add that to my list over here. And then another one I'm going to take, let me see how long my translucent is. I'm going to roll this back down to a number 3. And this is already at a number 3. So let me cut a straight edge here. put it up against here. And you can see I've got a little bit of dirt in my translucent just from the different colors of clay I've been using. And of course my roller was dirty and all things like that. So at least I can see through this to see where it meets. And I'm going to slice this here. And I'm going to roll this. This is 2 number 3s. So I'm going to roll it through the thickest setting of the pasta machine just to make sure it's all fit together. And then I'm going to roll another spiral. And you're going to say, why does she keep rolling spirals? Sorry, my phone is ringing in the other room. If you hear it, I'm not really worried about it. Now this alone would make a nice cane, just because there's so many spirals in it. But if you don't want to leave it the way it is, let's reduce it a little bit. Just roll it and pull it. And roll it and pull it. Till it gets to be maybe, oh, I don't know, 1/2 inch. Actually, what I'm going to do here is cut it in half. Excuse me, cut it in half and save this spiral as a cane, and I'll reduce this one to about 1/2 inch. And that way I'll have made 2 canes with 1 spiral. But let me show you the neat effect. Alright, and normally when you cut a cane, you cut straight up and down. But have you ever thought what it would be like to cut at an angle? Look at that. Isn't that cool? And see this? And the more you cut, it's almost a wood-like finish. But these also make very interesting canes to add to your project if you just want texture or, you know, designs. But look at that. I just love it. Do want to cut the bottom off a little bit because it's there. But you just keep slicing this way. And again, I should be using my sharp blade. Well, I won't worry about that part. It just makes an interesting way to use your translucent. And again, it doesn't have to be white. I happen to like translucent and white canes. It can be black, it can be gold, it can be leaf. You can use metal leaf, you can use colors. You could do the same thing with like this blue. You could make the spiral with the blue and the translucent and slice it at an angle, and you would get the same design with the blue in it, which would make a really nice ocean type. Especially this would look really nice as an ocean. So there you go. So now I really have finished the video. And I've used almost all of my clay. This was the end of my translucent block that I had open. But I found another one that I have open. So maybe I can do some more at another time. But get you some translucent clay and either white or black or both. Or some metal leaf and just have fun. So, hope you enjoyed this. I just had a thought. Nope, it's not there. I thought I knew where my other polka dot cane was. But I hope you enjoyed this. Come back soon for another polymer clay video. Bye-bye.